All right. Good morning, peoples. It is Tuesday morning in North America, and it is Tuesday evening here in beautiful Southeast Asia. What a great day today. All right. I'm going to jump in here and cover my precious metal miners. The diehards here, like me, who sort of understand this, have an affinity for it, as I've said in the past, I retired based on all my analysis that I did in the 2000s, really the run up from 2001 to 2010. Um, I made eightfold my money, and probably had I already been experienced in that sector prior to that run, I probably would have doubled or tripled that. So I probably would have had 20 times my money. And remember, in this era where there were no income funds, so, you know, you, me, other people, if we just look at income, we get excited if we get in Misty and we make 100% yield and it stays flat for the year. We're ecstatic, right? 100% is just awesome. Well, I've been trying to talk to you guys about miners, and not many are listening. And as long as the market keeps doing what it's doing with AI and the FOMO, but it's almost impossible for it to continue at this pace. The market multiples are just simply too high. So what's undervalued, what's likely to do well? I've said this before, we're in a commodity super cycle. And this isn't going to be where I show you 5,000 charts. I'm going to try and get through the. I could talk all day on this subject and probably show data just that it's just too much, right? So if you haven't watched my playlist, go back. I've got a playlist set up. I don't have playlists on other stuff. I have a playlist on my metals and miners, and there's like 10 videos, I think. This will be the 11th. I need to add this one to the playlist, but just know it's there. And I've been doing this over the last 3 or 4 months. And I just want to come back now and tell you guys, hey, I told you so. What did I tell you? And I'm not picking tops. Yeah, silver's starting to move, but gold's down from where it's been. It's going to go back up. I mean, these things are going to be massively explosive, which I think BTC will be also, but it kind of correlates to that. Just crazy melt up values in these mining stocks because they're printing money when they're digging this stuff out of the ground. Not the little explorers, but trust me, there'll be some 50 and 100x explorers, right? Because they drilled and they found rich veins of gold, silver, copper, palladium, platinum, rare earths, right? So all of this kind of goes hand in hand in this boom and bust cycles. When they need these materials, they just absolutely go crazy. Well, the price on gold has already gone crazy. So now silver is playing catch up, and palladium and platinum also. Platinum has really moved, and yet it's going to go so much higher. So this is my recap. I'm going to get through this quick. So I did this on May 30th. I looked it up. Because I didn't remember. So the only thing I did was say, hey, here's the price that I told you. Go back and watch this video. I named these guys and I said, here's 20 miners to buy that'll make you rich over the next 3 to 5 years. Well, what's the definition of rich? 5x, 10x, you know, is it absolutely guaranteed? Pretty much. But no, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. But on the other hand, been there, done it, right? Many times. And we've been waiting for the miners to sort of wake up. They're in about second inning of a 9 inning baseball game. They've woke up. I mean, before gold has gone up 150% in 24 months, and the miners went up 5%. They're not participating. Well, typically, they do 3 to 4 times the move of the physical metal. So if that gives you some idea how much they have to make up when they get going. So enough said on that. Again, I could go on and on and on about this, but from a standpoint of knowledge, not just BS. Okay. And the thing you have to be careful, if you went out and picked one miner because your neighbor told you, hey, this little explorer up in Saskatchewan, they look like they're going to get good gold. They've hit a couple small veins. They're drilling bigger. Great story. Great time to be looking at that. But you go out and put $10,000 in it and it becomes a moose pasture. They just never really follow the vein. It dies out. It's not there. Happens all the time, guys. And then there's promoters that were never really true miners, especially when we get in the fourth and fifth inning. And they take moose pasture and they name it, Tropical Silver Corp. They don't have any silver. There's none ever been found on that land, but they promote themselves. They go to the trade shows and people start running the stock up two or three times. And the simple thing is, do they have a track record? The management team been in the industry for many years. And then you have to watch out for what's called lifestyle companies, where somebody's been in the industry for a long time, but they've never really produced that much. And they and their buddies on the board give themselves big salaries, and we go in and buy the stock at 25 cents, and every 3 years they refinance, triple the amount of outstanding shares, and you never make anything. You keep paying their lifestyle because they're not serious about drilling and making money. They're just serious about funding a lifestyle. So there's bad reps and bad things and things to look out for. But I built this list saying, hey, here's 20 miners. Every one of them are already producing. All of them have excellent management. And they're all skating to where the puck is going. They've all got silver, every one of the Pan Am Silver, First Majestic, Hecla, Coeur d'Alure, Mining, Fresnilio, every one of them, Endeavor, all of these, Aya Gold and Silver. But some have just gold, but that's okay. Gold is super high and they're going to print money in gold. It's just that silver now is going to outpace gold and the move up. So having said all that, here's my 530 recommendation price. Go look at the video. Here's 714. It's not like it's just magically high now. This one right here, one of my lowest, look at this. Here's the percent gain in 6 weeks. Got a 59%, right? You guys are chasing income. You're not getting 59% on your money back in 6 weeks. Avino Gold 35, Fresnilio, fantastic company, fourth or fifth largest, fantastic man. First Majestic, Keith Newmeyer. This company has been positioned to break out. It's done nothing for about 3 years. It's done a lot of things behind the scenes, but you wouldn't know it from the stock price. This thing's going to blow up. The higher silver goes, the more money they make, like a lot of these guys. I mean, I'm not even highlighting 19, 16, 21. So the two worst guys, everybody made money here. Nobody went down from a stock standpoint. Here's your market cap. We're not talking about a little teeny weeny company. Okay. Here's their price on January 1 and their year to date gain. How would you like to be in this guy? 342%, 158%. That's in 6 months, 6.5 months, if you will. And what the beauty of, look over the last year. So going back from 714, go back to 614 or 615, 24. And here's your gains. So you can see on some of them that they're running harder. This only had 25% over the last year, but just over the last 6 months. So you're seeing them wake up and start to move. Now, there's been a few exceptions, right? Here's one that over a year, it's only got 1.83, but the year to date is 1654. So there's a lot here, guys. I understand this sector to the nth degree. I talk about it in detail, right? I've been waiting for it. I've been in income funds because it wasn't ready. I wasn't going to stick my money in there and have the money be flat. Well, it's ready and it's moving. And I move things around a little bit from time to time. Here was my second group of the 10. I said, hey, these are a 4 to 10 baggers, but there's a little more risk. You know, they're producing, but they're much smaller producers, and they're also drilling. What you're going to get in that top 10 is takeovers. They're going to take over smaller companies and add to their production. Okay. So, but look, oh, and by the way, I didn't even tell you the average. Here's the average over the last 7 months, right? Since the beginning of the year, the average stock in this 10, and never buy just one. Don't go out and look at this 342 and buy it, and then 3 months later send me a message and say it's down 20%, I'm getting out. Even if that was true, after going 342, it might rest, but it's probably going to go up another 342% in the next 18 to 24 months. But it might also, go back 30% of that gain at some point, which sets it up as an excellent buy. So you guys have to treat it the same way you treat the income funds. When you get smart, you DCA in, you buy on ex dividend, you buy it when it's on sale and it drops. All of that applies here. These aren't income funds, but I'm telling you, this is the best growth sector over the next 3 to 5 years that exists in the stock market. Nobody can tell me a better sector. You may tell me there may be an individual stock or two like an AI that does it, but you're not going to have 200 stocks do it like you're going to have in this mining um, universe. So these guys also 86% gain, but you actually had two losers. Whoopee. 5% and 2% in 6 weeks if you bought them. That's why I say try and buy 3 or 4. But even if you did that, then it's just that much better. Look at this one. Year to date gain is 321%. Over the last 6 weeks, it's down 2.11. Right? It was 55 cents. It's now $2.37. So I can go on and on. Look at this, watch the video, write the symbols down, take the names down, send me a message if you don't understand how to play it or something. Here's another video I did. 3 stocks I recommended. Right? This one, I'm 4x on this over about a year and so forth. 4x. I plan to ride it up another 6, 8x on top of that. When I told you 530, it was 51 cents. It's now a dollar. So it's moved up 96.88%. Mux, the chairman of it's been flat for a long time. And now it's moving because they got one of the smartest CEOs in the business ever, McEwen. If you look up the symbol MUX, it's McEwen Mining, and the CEO name is McEwen. He's a billionaire. He's been in mining his whole life and his family. Abra Silver, again, silver. These two are silver. And what's moving now? Silver. So here's 52.8, just a measly 52% in 6 weeks. And I'm more than a double on this one, but I've owned it longer, right? I've had to set, these stocks all peaked back in 2021 during that silver went down to like $4 in the COVID March 2020 bottom, and then by the end of the year it was back up in the 20s, and these silver stocks just flew up. And I waited for them to retrace and bought some and had to wait another couple years because I'm talking, a $2,000 investment and I bought 15 of them. It's 30,000 just to put out there. And I knew that this was going to turn and I knew that it was going to go up. So in that case, I just held down and I added some that I really, really liked, and they dropped further. I added. They're not even on my list. Okay. So this is a fantastic sector, guys. Let me give you, here's just a little bit. So I'm just going to do this very quick. I hardly brought anything over. Here's a weekly change. Okay, July 11th over the week before. Gold's up 0.59. Silver's up 4%. Platinum's up 6%. And palladium's up 1181. I told you guys some platinum and palladium miners, SBSW. Okay. ANGPY. PLG. PLG's been slow to move and now is starting to move. A big company. They got massive money in a big mine and were funded by a billionaire. And when that mine gets going, so it's been slow to move. Okay. This HUI is kind of like GDX. It's just another form of gold and silver miners. So that's up 0.81. Silver cent is another up 6.23. How about year to date? Gold up 28.81. Silver is now past it, and silver will outperform 2 or 3 to 1 to gold percentage wise, right? Platinum, palladium, platinum's really moved. HUI and silver cent. Okay, here's a recommendation, but again, I'm it's commodity oriented. I've been in this stock many times. I don't own any right now, and I'm watching that based on the chart here. But I've owned it. I bought AR, and I also bought, geez, I want to say BTC, but it's not that. I bought another gas company, BR. I'll have to look up the symbol. And I 4 or 5x these back around 2021, 2022. And then I got out. After I was 4x, I put a stop loss at like 3x and just got out of them. And sure enough, they've come back down. So I was in one of these cycles back over here. I was likely in this cycle, got up here, and then when this happened, got out. That looks more, well, no, it was even before that. So I've been out of AR for over a year. Um, but this is an awesome company. They actually have one called AM that's similar but pays like a 10 or 11 or 12%. Look at that symbol if you're interested in the income, but it doesn't move as much as this does because it's paying out a lot. Uranium, you need to own in the commodity space. You know, this is the junior ETF. I own URA and URN M, URNM, and URA, and URNJ is in a good buy position here. Uranium will just it. This is the most efficient energy there is with AI, big data centers. Look at all the first world countries. They struggle to have a grid that have enough electricity. I mean, think about those emerging companies with hundreds and billions of people, and they're all trying to get to where first world people are. They want all the gadgets, right? They want everything that uses electricity, and they don't have it today. They use like 1/5, 1/8 of a developed world country. But where's all the population coming? They're having babies and they're growing and they want more things. So uranium is probably the most efficient source of energy. But oil's not going away. Heck, coal's not going away. Natural gas for sure is not going away. So that's what I got to say. I got one final thing to cover, you guys. You know, I love spreadsheets. You know, I love to sort, filter, identify. So this is all, I think, 800 mining companies around the world. So I track location, symbol. Usually I keep my Canadian and foreign symbols over here and then their equivalent US symbol. And then I try and categorize it. You know, are they a junior? Are they a late stage developer? Are they a project generator? Are they a medium midterm producer? That's what you want to see. Now, what was one of the stocks that I had on there? Santa Cruz Silver, SCZMF. Look at this stock. Now, I hate to almost tell you to go buy it now, but when I told you I'm fine over the long haul, over the next 6 months or year or 2 years, you're going to do fantastic in this stock. But it's run and run and run. Look at this. Look at the 6 month gain, 395%. Look at the 3 month gain, 147. Look at the 1 month gain. So this thing is moving. It's moving because it's drilling, it's producing some silver in Bolivia and Mexico, and the veins just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So this thing is just blowing up with the value of silver. And with silver comes a lot of other important minerals, copper, tin, zinc, a lot of these things. So they make a fortune mining, these rich deposits. Um, and so I sorted that. All I did was go through and I said, now, look, some of this you have to be super careful. And what do I mean by that? You got a little one penny stock. It's hoping, hoping, hoping it's drilled. Don't run out. When I see 700 and nothing over here and I don't even have pricing, I ignore it. But at least my sort's working. So a 1 month ago, it was 7 cents. It's now 8 cents. So yeah, that's a 700%. But that's risky, right? I'm not saying go out and do that. Here's one 6 months ago at a 16. It didn't have a price on the 3 month search because they don't have that kind of volume. They may only have 2,000 shares traded or something. So that's where you have to look. But then when you get one that's 166 in 3 months and 166 in 1 month, it's gone from 3 cents, 3 cents to 8 cents. Again, nothing that I'm going to run out and buy on that alone. Look at this thing. 6 month, 1266, 396, 112. I have to go look at this. Onyx, 3 month gain over here on the other symbol, 275. I mean, there's a reason. And then I go in, I research, and I read the story, and I find out what's going on. So I'm always looking at this stuff. But honestly, I don't do a lot of mining videos for you guys because nobody cares. Well, what's going to happen, you guys are all going to be chasing it when it's in the eighth inning. And some of you are going to hang on too long, and you're going to have 100% gain, and you're going to end up losing money. It always happens in markets, right? So I'm always looking, right? I look at 1 month and then I try and look at others. I could just go sort on the last year, but I really like this 1 month thing. I mean, that's got me. I got to come back and look at Onyx. Um, look at the gold reserve. 72% 1 month gain, 107% 3 month gain, 153. Something's going on. Project generator. That means they're an explorer, they're a driller, they're on to something. Stock doesn't move like that unless they have some drill hits. And then this is also the drilling season. The warm months, if you're up in Canada and those cold countries like that, and they're doing deep drilling, they're going to drill in May, June, July, August, September. And then, you only have certain months. Not all weather is bad. Um, Belo in Brazil, Belo Sun Mining. 46, 29, 266% there. So, guys, this is what I do. This is what I use. I've been doing this a long time over in the miners. So I just started building out my stuff for the income funds, and I got like 120 now. I think you've seen some of those. So some of these miners, it's not uncommon for silver to triple and go up 4x in the last 20% of time when it runs. So I'm looking, silver's $38. I'm looking at probably $150 silver in the next 3 to 5 years. Gold's, 3,400, 3,300, probably 10,000, at least 7,500 at minimum. And you have to think of what those multiples in the physical metal do to the multiples that mine it, right? Let alone some of these little guys that are taking risks. But again, don't go out and spend all your money in explorers in the high risk. If you want to buy a basket, depending on what your budget is, if you want to buy a basket of 10 of them and say you've got a 500,000 to invest and you're doing some in income funds and all that, and you say, okay, out of commodities, I'm willing to throw 20 grand. So go buy 20 miners that look like they're on to something and spend $1,000 each. And likely out of those 20, you're going to have one that's up 40 or 50 times. And then that would more than pay for if you had 19 losers, which you wouldn't. But so that's how I look at this sector. It's a boom and bust sector. Although gold is really a monetary metal, right? Most of these other metals get consumed and are industrial. Silver is industrial metal. Lot of silver use. Platinum, palladium, the same thing. Copper, tremendously so. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. I'm going to let you go. Again, this is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. All right, guys, bye for now.